Have you ever stopped and wondered what makes modern video games just so incredibly addictive? What's the secret sauce that keeps literally millions of us logging in day after day? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the design, the psychology, and the economics of modern games to figure out just how they capture our time and our money. First, let's just get a sense of the scale we're dealing with. That number right there, 2.7 billion. That's how many people play video games across the globe. We're talking about the single largest entertainment industry on the entire planet. It's an absolute cultural and economic juggernaut. And that brings us to the real puzzle, right? So many of the biggest games in the world are totally free to download and play. So if the game itself is free, what on earth are hundreds of millions of people spending all this money on? That's the big question we're going to dig into. Okay, to start, we really need to shift our thinking a little bit. Modern games aren't just products you buy in a box off a shelf anymore. Oh no, they're these carefully crafted platforms for something much more valuable. This quote right here just nails it. Game companies aren't really selling you software, they're selling you a feeling. The feeling of victory, the escape into a whole new world, the friendships you build. It's this intangible, emotional experience that we're all actually willing to pay for. And what's so fascinating is how you can actually map this whole evolution out. See, businesses start by selling raw stuff, commodities. Then they make them into goods. Then they offer services. But the absolute top of the ladder, the highest level of value, comes from staging experiences. The gaming industry has basically climbed this ladder, going from selling a game cartridge, a good, to running these live, ongoing games that are premium experiences. And get this entire business model lines up perfectly with how people spend their money these days. Research shows that millennials, who are a huge part of the gaming world, would much rather spend their money on experiences than on physical stuff. So the industry isn't just selling experiences, it's selling them to a generation that's already eager to buy them. All right, so how are these multi-billion-dollar experiences actually put together? Let's peel back that first layer and take a look at the fundamental architecture of how a game actually plays. Every single game, it doesn't matter how complicated it seems, is built from a set of basic actions you can do. These are the core mechanics. They're the verbs of the game. Jump, shoot, reload, build. They are the literal building blocks of fun. And this chart really shows you just how standardized these mechanics have become. In modern shooters, you can see that aiming down sights, or ADS, and reloading are pretty much universal. They create this shared language that players just get, which makes jumping into a new game feel instantly familiar. But here's where it gets really clever. Even a single mechanic like weapon recoil can be designed in completely different ways. You got a game like Valorant, which uses a fixed pattern you can actually learn and master. It creates a really high skill ceiling for dedicated players. But then other games use more randomness, which makes it way easier for a casual player to pick up and have fun. It's a very deliberate choice that basically decides who the game is for. Okay, so we know how games are built to be fun, but that brings us to the deepest layer of this whole thing. Why do we choose to spend real money on virtual items? Stuff that doesn't even really exist? To answer that, we've got to look at a little psychology. To wrap our heads around this, we're going to use a framework from consumer psychology. It's called the theory of consumption values. And all it really argues is that anytime you decide to buy something, it's not for just one single reason. It's usually a mix of 5 different kinds of value that the purchase gives you. And here they are, those 5 values: functional, social, emotional, epistemic, which is just a fancy word for the kick we get out of curiosity and learning something new, and conditional. This is the toolkit researchers use to figure out our buying decisions. So now let's see which of these actually matter when we're in a game. So here's the really cool part. Some recent research took this exact theory and applied it to players in these massive free-to-play battle royale games. The whole point was to pinpoint which of these values are the ones that actually push a player to make an in-game purchase. And the results are pretty fascinating. So it turns out 3 of those values stood out as having a direct, positive impact on our choice to buy. First up, monetary value. Is the price fair? Does it feel like I'm getting a good deal? Second, conditional value. Is this a special limited time thing like for a holiday event? And third, emotional value. Does this thing just make me happy? Does it feel fun?
But the study didn't stop there. It also found 3 other factors tied specifically to how millennials like to shop that also have a huge impact on whether someone clicks that buy button. And they are customization, trendiness, and visual quality.
Customization is just huge. It's all about self-expression. In a world where your in-game character is basically your public face, being able to tweak its appearance with cool outfits or weapon skins is a really powerful way to stand out and show people who you are.
But here it is, the most surprising part. Of all the things they studied, one factor stood out as the single most powerful driver of in-game purchases: trendiness. It's pure social proof in action. When you see your favorite streamer using a certain item, or you notice that everyone in the game seems to be buying it, it creates this incredible desire to be part of that trend.
Okay, let's put all these pieces together. We've got fun mechanics, we have these deep psychological drivers, and we have these powerful social trends. So how does this all get combined in the mind of a modern game developer?
This quote from the research makes it crystal clear. In this free-to-play world, making money isn't some afterthought. The game itself is intentionally designed, from the ground up, from the mechanics to the social features, to create a constant desire to purchase.
So the modern playbook kind of boils down to this. Step 1, create a fun and engaging core game. Step 2, layer on a really deep understanding of player psychology, what we value, what we think is cool. And then finally, step 3, build the monetization systems to tap directly into those drivers to get us to spend. It's a very calculated formula.
And this leaves us with one last big question to think about. As game design and monetization get more and more tangled up, where do we draw the line? At what point does a masterfully crafted experience turn into a relentless sales pitch? It's a debate that really sits at the very heart of the gaming industry today.